This month's main test is the Iveco Stralis AT 8x4 tractor, owned and operated by Aratuna Freighters in Greymouth. Building a trucking business on the back of State Highway 73 Arthur's Pass is going to be fraught with heartache and obstacles. But Greymouth-based Aratuna Freighters have done just that, and the weapon of choice for the past decade and a half has been that West Coast stalwart, Iveco. Getting a coaster to buy something they don't want to is akin to trying to rent a Chevy to Henry Ford. A good number of long-standing transport names on the coast have run the Iveco brand for years. Second generation and current general manager at Aratuna Freighters Limited, Andrew Havel, cites the support they get from NZ Trucks Limited and the Iveco sales consultant Strawn Syme as being key components of their own Iveco story. They're not the best at anything, but they're great at everything. They're not the most powerful, lightest or the most fuel efficient, but the average of all key figures, their price and the after sales we get makes them a bloody great truck, says Andrew. For reasons of weight and economy versus performance, the company go for the Stralis with a cursor 13,500 horsepower rather than the bigger Power Star. When you look at the power to weight ratio of the quad setup at 10.9 horsepower to the tonne, that's prudent decision making. Returning 1.84 kilometres a litre with zero empty running in this country says a lot about the man, the machine and the business owner behind them. The Cursor 13 is a well-proven furnace. The 373 kilowatts, 500 horsepower arrives at about 1550 RPM, and the top torque figure of 2300 Newton metres, 1696 pound-foot, sets off at 1000 RPM and shows no sign of departure until 1500 RPM. So both critical numbers handshake and wave goodbye to each other when they're both at almost the top of their respective games. It's very PACCAR MX-ish in its profile, behaviour and a lovely engine note as well. Behind the burner is the two-pedal Iveco Eurotronic 2 16AS 630 AMT transmission. Front axles comprise a pair of Iveco 5876s rated at 13 tonnes combined, sitting on Iveco load equalising 4 airbag parabolic spring and shock absorber combo. See, you can have it all. Looking aft is the Meritor RT 46160 GP axles rated at 20.9 tonne with driver-controlled diff locks. They're sitting on Hendrickson Primax PAX 462 suspension, GVM and GCM are 31 and 75 tonnes respectively. Driver Troy Golter is a coaster and knows the Arthur's Pass like the back of his hand. He drives the road superbly, allowing the Iveco to just flow along, never pushing it. He takes control of the AMT and the gnarly bits and says the ancillary braking via the two-stage engine brake is the only area of the truck he thinks could be improved. No truck will ever beat the Arthurs. Poke the bear and it'll break something on any machine, but roll through the pass with minimal fuss and it'll not bite back. With places like Peg Leg and the Viaduct smattered with 16% grades, Arthur is never your friend. In Troy's hands and with his approach, this truck will last a long, long time, even on this road. The Active Cab, or AT, is a cavernous cab with a snug feel, if that makes sense. It's not a flat floor, but it still has a pull-out thermal drawer that's sort of under the bunk and a caddy next to it for knickknacks. Because of the wee hump in the floor, the drawers and caddy under the slightly elevated bunk, and the wrap in the dash, the driver's berth has a real cockpit feel. But there's no issue about space if Troy needs to prepare for a session of fatigue management. Moving around the cab is very, very easy. The driving position is great, with typical European binnacle, light on gauges, high on warning lights, and the vehicle and trip metric screens centrally located. Ride and handling were impeccable, and fit and finish wise there's not a squeak or creak to be heard. According to Troy, and based on his experience with the brand, that'll stay that way. So, the Stralis has been looked at again, and again it's come up trumps as a contemporary European high flyer. The AT cab isn't quite in the league of the auditoriums like the Globetrotter Stream Space or Topline, nor does it have all the accoutrements. But it certainly ticks every box in a community of people who suffer pretenders, not one iota. As always, the last word is best left to the bloke who drives it, Troy Golter. They're a beautiful truck. If I was buying a truck, I'd buy one. Read the full story in the October 18 New Zealand Trucking magazine. Thanks so much for all of your support and have a great month.